there, welcome. It's Grandma Roseanne, and we're going to make a Mexican dish today. And I don't know if you've ever had it, but if not, I think you might want to try it. It is a birria taco, and we're used to tacos that are ground beef or carne asada, but this is a different taco completely. So hang with me till the end because you're not going to believe how outrageously good it is. So we're going to start with some chilies. I've got some Guajillo chilies, but these are just dried. I'm going to use 4 of these, and I'm going to use 2 Pasilla, P-A-S-I-L-L-A, Ancho. I hope I pronounced that correctly. So that's what we're going to use. Now over here on my stove, I have got 2 cups of beef broth, and I'm bringing that up to a boil. And while that's doing that, we're preparing the chilies. And what you want to do is you want to cut the stem off, and you want to get the seeds out. That's where your heat lies. So you want to get it out. But I will also tell you that neither of these chilies have a lot of heat. They really don't. They have intense flavor, but they really don't have a lot of heat. So I think you might, those of you that like a lot of heat might want to add some to it, but we're going to be good with this. So now we're going to take 4 and 2, and we're going to put it into our food blender, just like that. And then we're going to wait for this to come up to a boil. As soon as it comes up to a boil, I'm going to put it in here into the chilies, and then we're going to let them just seep for about 15 minutes, getting them really, really soft. So I will be back in just a couple of minutes. Well, our chilies have softened, so now we can just add the rest of the ingredients. And in here I have 1 tablespoon of oregano. To that I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of coriander. Now the recipe does call for 1 teaspoon of cumin. I don't know why, I don't have any, but I don't have any, so I'm going to skip it, but you put it in, okay? And then we want to put in 2 of the chipotle, so 2 of those are going in. And we want some kosher salt, so I'm putting about 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt. And then to this we're going to add diced tomatoes, and I have got 15 ounces of diced tomatoes here. Okay, now we can just mix that all up. And I want this at a very high speed because I want it very, very smooth. Alrighty, we should be good there. All right, so what I have here now is I'm going to start preparing the meat. And what I have got here is I have got 3 pounds of boneless beef short ribs. They make an excellent, excellent dish out of this, but you could probably use any cut of beef that you would like because it slow cooks for so long that you can use a less tender cut, but I just kind of like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this off. I've already cubed this into rather large cubes, just like that. We're going to get whatever cooking utensil you have and put some oil in there. We're going to crank that up pretty high. Not too much oil either, because we're going to brown this, but we need just a little bit so it doesn't stick. At least it doesn't stick too much. We do want it to stick some because we want that fond to come up. So we have a little bit of oil in the pan, but we also want to oil the meat. Just like that. Just work it in nice. Now we want to season it. We're just going to season with salt and pepper. I don't know how much, maybe a tablespoon. And probably 1/2 of pepper. Mix that up. This is such a flavorful dish, you guys. You're gonna love it. Let's see if that's hot enough. What you don't want to do is you don't want to put so much meat in that all of a sudden you're steaming it. You don't want that. So what you're going to do is just put a few pieces in, brown those all sides, and pull them out. Now, the focus is not to cook the meat. We're going to cook the meat in the oven. The focus here is to get a nice crust on all pieces of the meat, because that's going to seal the meat. It's going to hold the juices in, and that's where you're going to get your intense flavor. And you don't want to be poking around in here a lot. You really don't. You want to be able to let it really develop a crust. So kind of refrain from tossing it too much. Let it really brown and then give it a flip. Now, after I take this one grouping out, I'm going to make certain that the oil comes back, or that the pan rather, comes back to its original temperature for the next batch to go in. We really want it to be pretty darn hot. See, it's starting. See that? That's kind of what we're looking for. Well, we have browned all 3 pounds of the meat. This is what I want you to look for. I want it to be really crusty, just like this, and on all sides. And the reason, as I said before, it's what's going to seal the meat and hold the flavor and give you the most intense flavor once you do this. Now, I will also caution you, as you're going through this, you're going to want to rush it. You're going to want to, well, that's enough, but it really isn't, you guys. So it's an important part. Now what we're going to do is we're going to deal with the onions. I put just a little bit of olive oil in here, just a tiny bit. And we're going to put the onions in. This is 1 large onion. We're going to let that cook for just a couple of minutes, just until it's softened. And you'll see here how it's starting to turn color because it's picking up the fond from the bottom of the pan. And that's just enhanced flavor that's going into these onions. So we have the onions that are just at the right level of being done. It got all the raw out of the onion. And now I'm going to throw in about 6 cloves of garlic. So you can see how nice and intense this flavor is going to be. We'll let that cook for just a couple of minutes. And then we're going to deglaze the pan. I'm going to deglaze it with apple cider vinegar, and I'm going to put in 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. And we're going to get all that fond up from that bottom of that pan. And if you're not familiar with fond, it's just the stuff that's stuck to the bottom. And that's where you get your intense flavor. So here we go. And we want to be sure to scrape it all up. We're going to cook this until that apple cider vinegar reduces to where it's like about half. So we're going to cook it for like maybe a couple of minutes. Our weather right now is so unlike California. It is so rainy and it's really kind of cold. And I love it so much. I just love it. So there is nothing better than smelling something outrageously good in your oven. And that is exactly what we're going to have here. Now we put the meat back in. And all of those drippings, you want those drippings to go back in as well. We're going to put in all of our chilies. And I want to get every last bit of chili out of there. And when you put the meat back in, be sure you put the drippings in with it, because that's all good flavor still. I think I'm a flavor nut today. I've been saying flavor, 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 intense flavor, intense flavor. That's what it is. Want to get those onions up. Just give it a good little stir in here. Now, when you go to buy these products and you can't pronounce them any better than I can, it doesn't matter. What I do is I just write it down and I point to it, and then they take me to the right chili or the right chipotle or the right whatever it is. Don't get hung up on that. That's not important. What's important is the process that you're going to go into, and boy, I'm telling you, your end result is going to be really worth it. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put foil around this because I really, really want to seal everything in. I have to get it open a little bit further. My oven is set at 350. Now that's a nice tight seal on there. This in the oven, it's going to be there for 2.5, 3 hours. And when it is knife tender, you push the knife in and that meat is just falling apart, then it's ready for the next step. And the final step, which is eating it. Alrighty, there we go. I will see you back in about 2.5 to 3 hours, and we are going to have a fabulous, fabulous meal. See you then. Well, we are to that stage of amazing aroma in this house. I can smell it throughout the entire house. This has been cooking now for 3 hours. So let's take a look and see what we have accomplished. Oh, look at that, you guys. Oh, look at that. And the richness of that broth. And let's see about the meat. Oh, just totally falls apart. Can you see that? Totally, totally falls apart. Look at that. Oh, this is amazing. So, Birria tacos is what we are doing. But after we do the birria taco, I want you to hang around because I'm going to show you something else that's going to be very exciting. So what we need to do now is get our taco ready. And I have got a cast iron here. If you have a cast iron skillet or a flat grill like this, whatever it is, I think that that probably would be worth using. I'm going to spray it with some nonstick spray. And then what we want to do is get into that sauce. I've got corn tortillas here, and I'm just going to dip it into the sauce. Can you come and look and see? I'm dipping it on both sides. And then we're going to bring it over. We got a nice sizzle there. We're going to let it cook. We want to get it a little bit crispy here. And when you spray it, you really eliminate the possibility of it sticking, which is good. Now we want a little bit of the meat. The meat, you guys, the meat is so tender, it's falling off the bone, and there's no bone, but the meat is so tender that what it's doing is it's kind of even hard to pick up. We're going to put a little bit of cheese on this. I've got some cheddar, use whatever kind you like, and I have some Mexican cheese. transfer to a plate, and I'm going to put a little bit more sauce on it, just like that. Did I say that this was incredibly messy? It's incredibly messy. So that's okay, don't worry about mess. Now, garnishes, do whatever you would like to do on this. I'm going to put some onion, some cilantro, a little bit more cheese, a little bit more of the Mexican cheese. And this Mexican cheese that I got here is Cotjia. So I don't know how you pronounce that, but if you write it out and point to it, but there's a lot of white Mexican cheeses. All of them would be good. You can add avocado if you want. I am not. I'm just going to take a taste of this amazing birria taco. Here we go. Going in for the bite. I will tell you, honestly, that is the best Mexican I have ever eaten anywhere, in any restaurant, anywhere. This is outrageous. It is so good. Oh my God. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Now, I'm going to show you one more thing. So, hang in there. Now we're going for a different version here. I have got 2 tortillas that I just did the same way I showed you. I put a little bit of sauce in between them. I'm going to put a little bit more here on the top. Just like that. I'm going to put in a little bit of onion. Little bit of cilantro, little bit of 2 cheeses, Mexican cheese. We might want to do an avocado. Now, what do you think of that? That is amazing. It is. This looks fantastic. Absolutely delicious, you guys. And anyone that likes Mexican food would go crazy for this dish. So let me show you how wonderful this Birria breakfast is. I am not joking, you guys. This is like my favorite breakfast ever. Now, I am ready for a happy dance right here. I'm gonna take a little bit of avocado. You've gotta try this. Honestly, you've gotta try this. It's really super easy. My best ever. Ever. I have never made anything Mexican better than this. Now, your third option, what about doing your tortillas the way I showed you, rolling them up, filling them with some of this beautiful meat, putting some sauce over the top, sprinkling it with your cheeses into a casserole dish, pop it in the oven. Now you have a burrito casserole. So just from this one meat, we made 3 outstanding dishes. Gosh, I hope you try it. And please, please leave me a message. Let me know how much you love it. Right now, out in my yard, I have both of my gardeners out there. And they're Hispanic, and they're pretty picky about their food. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring them in, and I am going to treat them to an outrageous lunch. So thank you, subscribe, thumbs up, come back, hit the bell for notification. Ingredients are all below. Thank you so much for sharing this morning with us, and we will be happy to have you back anytime. Bye.